It's my pleasure to talk to Džimmijs Kārs, stand-up comedian, television host, actor, writer, radio host, very, very funny man. And how are you doing? Jimmy?
I'm happy that it's a pleasure to talk to me. I can't believe your luck that I'm on your radio station. Now, obviously, I don't live in Latvia, so I don't know what's going on there. I have a show there. You've got to tell me, what do I need to know before I do the show?
We will talk about Latvia a little bit later, but now let's talk about that long title, which I said. Is there anything you would like to add? Stand-up comedian, television host, actor, writer, radio host. Is there something more?
That's exactly what I paid you to say. Right? That's the arrangement that we had before the show. I will pay you in English pound sterling to kind of big me up. No, it's a weird thing. I mean, basically, stand-up is my job. Everything else is a bit of a hobby that I do on the side, TV presenting and a bit of acting and a bit of writing here and there. But basically, I'm a stand-up. That's what I do all the time, and that's what I love.
The thing about the stand-up culture here in Latvia is that it's a pretty new thing. So I believe that there will be listeners who probably don't know who you are. So maybe we can start with just beginning.
Very, very hard to believe. I imagine most of the listeners will be very excited that I'm on the show.
But let's speak about your style. Can you please describe your stand-up comedian style? What?
Well, I'm quite old-fashioned in a sense. I tell jokes. It's not observational comedy. It's not surrealist. It's not sketches. It's kind of old-fashioned in a way. I tell jokes. I mean, albeit very, very rude jokes. But I tell jokes for a living. I write little jokes, little bits of language. So I think if I'm playing Latvia, it will be half a comedy show and half an English comprehension exam. Because there's lots of, you really know you can speak English perfectly if you can get a joke in English. That's when you know you're ready to move to England. Because if you can get a joke in that language, then you've nailed it.
Yeah, but your style, I would say it's dark humor and offensive jokes.
I mean, it's only offensive if someone's offended. And I never find that the only people that are ever offended are the newspapers. And they just want to make a story. So they write, their story is always comedian tells joke. And then they print one of my jokes and then they say, we are disgusted with this joke. Well, why did you reprint it then, you fools?
But is there anything that you say, no, I can't joke about it?
I think so. I don't think there's any topic that's out of bounds. I mean, I think as well because context and intent are very important with jokes. So you can tell a joke, ironically, and someone can laugh unironically. So you've got to be a little bit careful around certain subject matter. But all of my jokes, they're not hurting anyone. It's just we're laughing. And I like to think of myself as an equal opportunities offender. I like to think if I offend everyone, then I'm not picking on any particular group or any person. I'm finding everything in life funny. And actually, the darker stuff in life, the more kind of painful things that we have to deal with as human beings, that's where you need comedy. That's the only place where comedy has a purpose, to lighten the load, to make life a little bit easier.
Well, isn't it really hard to tell joke like many times in your show, which will you come to Latvia, Funny Business? It's have been already I don't know how many shows with Funny Business you had.
Oh, maybe 300. No, I think it's like performing a play, and also the kind of comedy that I do. I would say 70% of the show in Latvia will be stuff that I've prepared, and I know what the jokes are, and they have a feed line and a punchline, and I know where the laugh comes, and I know the material, and I've said it many times before. But 30% of the gig will be messing around with audience members and talking to them and just trying to be funny off the cuff and try and have a laugh that night with the audience.
So if you have a ticket in a front row, it's pretty possible that Džimmijs Kārs will make some joke about you.
Oh, yeah, more than likely. But, I can always tell when people want to join in and when they don't.